My name is Dee Hobbs. I am a guy, not a girl. People come into the office all the time and say, we want to talk to the county attorney. And they say, what is this about? Oh, she and I have been good friends for a long time. So I did get an offer for an all-girls college scholarship, and my mom wouldn't let me go, but I tried. So I am your elected county attorney. Our former county judge says that I called me Moses because of my look. Some call me Duck Dynasty. Some call me ZZ Top. I look weird. I get you. But even stranger than that is the title, county attorney. So how many of you are from Texas originally? All right. How many of you from Williamson County originally? Rare creatures. How are you doing? We are getting fewer by the number. It's kind of like going to Vegas. Nobody's actually from Vegas. It's getting that way in Williamson County. How many of you are not from Texas? Okay. Just curious, where? Missouri. All right. All over.
Tennessee and Louisiana.
Ooh, Tennessee. Ooh. And Louisiana. Huh? Where?
North Dakota.
North Dakota. Okay. Miami? Washington. I like that. You said Miami, not Florida. Miami is the only thing that's the only place I'm claiming is that. All right. Well, look, for those of you, you're going to hear from Sean Dick, right? Or have they already heard from Sean? Tomorrow. Okay. So Sean Dick is your
Not tomorrow, next week. Yeah.
Next week. All right. He's your elected district attorney. Has fabulous hair. Okay. And you know what a district attorney does, right? Because they have TV shows, right? And I give Sean a hard time about this, and he goes, oh, stop it. It's not like that. So I was talking to a group just like this, and while I'm talking, Sean was going to talk after me, and he walks in, and I kid you not, he's got a camera crew with a boom mic following in, and he shot a documentary on a case that he handled. And he'll probably talk about that, so I don't want to get into it. But I said, see, and he goes, shut up. This is a one-off. Okay, so you know what that does. But do you know what a county attorney does? See, that's why I'm glad y'all are here. Because when y'all leave, my fear is we have so many people moving into Williamson County that they don't know if they need the services we provide, or if somebody they know needs our services, they don't know where to go. If you came from Miami or another state or from all over, where you were able to get where you came from may be called something different or done by somebody different in Texas. How many counties are in Texas? 254, that's right. And God bless Texas, we are fiercely independent. That means that my job in another county may look completely different than it does in this county. So even if you didn't come, so only 2 of you are from the county, so may know. You came from another county, you may not even have a county attorney. So out of 254 counties, you could have 2 elected prosecutors like you do here, or you may not. Out of 254 counties, you'll only have 346 elected prosecutors. Now, I went to Hutto and I graduated from Hutto, so how does that math add up? It doesn't. Because in some counties, a district attorney does what a county attorney would do. In some counties, a county attorney does what a district attorney would do. In some counties, you only have 1 district attorney and he only has 1 county. Some district attorneys have 5 counties and ride a circuit. Have I thoroughly confused you yet? All right, hang with me. I'm going somewhere with this. Okay. In our county, in the 70s, we made a decision. How would we divide the duties? And they said, we want the district attorney to do the worst of the worst offenders and focus on that and be really, really good and top-notch at that. And they said, well, what about all this other stuff? Oh, let's give it to the county attorney's office. Now, the humor in that, the gentleman who did that thought he would be appointed to be DA. So he gave everything he didn't want to do to the county attorney's office. What was funny was he didn't get DA, he got county attorney. So the joke was on him. But since that time, and so when you saw the chart, and you've heard from Judge Barker and Brooke Miller, so your chart was great, but we span both floors in the courthouse. I've got prosecutors that are in JP courts. I've got prosecutors that are in county courts at law, and I've got attorneys that are in district court because of how we divided up the duties. Okay? So, juvenile, you saw from the chart, is in district court, Judge Matthews, but is prosecuted by the county attorney's office. Now, fun trivia for you. She talked about the top end, that at 17 you go to the Williams County Wyndham across the road, right? That's when you're an adult. But what's the low end? What's the youngest you can be held accountable for your actions through the court system? Oh, I stumped you there. You got 254. Come on. 10? You say 10? You seem like you know. You're like, I know it's 10. You got insider knowledge. Oh, randomly. Asking for a friend. Asking for, huh? Well, see, that's how you know, all right? But you were right, too. 10. At 10, you go to see Judge Matthews. At 9, you go to see your parents. So if you know any nefarious 9-year-olds, tell them to get it out of their system now. Now, I'll tell you, what age group do you think scares me the most out of that 10 through 16? The youngest, because they're scary. You think it'd be the 16-year-olds. It's not 16-year-olds. We had a 10-year-old that wanted to kill his teacher and brought a backpack full of butcher knives to school, and when they found out, he hid the backpack and tried to convince one of his other students' friends to carry out the plot. Now, I will tell you, you have great law enforcement in Williamson County. Bar none. I trained across the state of Texas. We are very fortunate. Somebody asked, are we special here in Williamson County? My mom always told me I was special, and I believe that, right? I believe Williamson County is special. Now, Judge Barker presides over those specialty courts, but guess what? We were one of the first counties to start those specialty courts. So, yes, other counties have them, but when they were training those counties, a lot of them came here to see how we did it here in Williamson County. Now, we have them, we know the benefits to them, and we love them. But you know what? Back in the day when we tried to start them, people did not understand them. And back then, our motto was what? Williamson County, here's my two Williamson County folks. What was our reputation back then? This is a long time ago. Don't come to Wilco. Okay, yes. Yes. But if you come to Wilco, come on vacation and return for revocation. See? So, it didn't really lend itself to the collaborative efforts of trying to look at the individual, right? We don't just serve the victims in our community. That's very important, but we want voluntary compliance and we want valuable members of our society. Locking them away, they're going to get out. If we don't give them new tools, we've done nothing. And so the specialty courts are hugely important, and we participate in that. But I say we special because, we started them, right? The originator, not the imitator. Now, on the county court of law, we've been working with Judge Barker. We don't have the formalized mental health court that Judge King does, but we're doing everything off docket through Judge Barker's help to work with mental health. That has been something near and dear to my heart my entire career. And again, when I started my career, it was a passé thing. Mental health, that's just it was blown off. Thankfully, we have new leadership in our county, new judges in our county, and mental health now is a priority. And COVID did us no favors. But our prosecutors work with mental health. We do civil commitments. Used to, back in the day, we sent them all to Austin because they had ASH, and we had no hospitals. Now we have Georgetown Behavioral and Rock Springs. If you build it, they will come. Our load is skyrocketed, but we have a place for it. We also have a great program, and even for the jail-based company restoration program for felonies too, we work with one very important aspect of that, forced medication. Because what happens is when you're on mental health medication, a lot of them are very powerful psychotropics, right, to help you stabilize. But a lot of times you think, one, either you lose access to them, or what happens is, I'm better. I don't need those dumb drugs anymore. And they quit cold turkey. Can't do that. Bad things happen. So what we got to do is get them back to a baseline. We have a jail doctor. He's not in jail. He works at the jail. And he comes and he evaluates them, and then we file motions with the court, and they make a determination on whether we can force injectable medication in them. It sounds harsh, but the results are amazing. That's one thing we're doing on that. You also saw that we have district court, and I'm sure Judge Barker talked about it, we have CPS cases, which stands for what? Child Protective Services. Their actual name is the Department of Family and Protective Services. And they used to change it every so often. It cost you millions of dollars in tax dollars to change all of the stuff. But everybody knows them as CPS. We have a county court of law judge that handles 50% of them, and then we have 3 district judges that handle the other 50%. And we're in the family recovery court that she was talking about with Judge Larson. Great program. You know what we found with all these great programs? I know this will shock you. The more resources and money you put into a problem, the better results you get. Shocking, isn't it? I had no idea. None. Completely took me by surprise. But CPS, so if a kid is considered to be abused or neglected, then the department would go and ask for those children to be removed and placed with either kinship replacement or into a foster care or residential treatment, depending on what the needs of the child was. We are the attorneys that then go into court to those judges and represent them on that. Now, how many of you heard the old thing of, you can't even spank your child in Texas, they'll call CPS? How many of you heard that? Right? I see some heads nodding, y'all don't want to even say that, right? Well, guess what? If you're a teenager, because it's usually teenagers that say that, but if your child tells you that, I'll give you the number to statewide intake, that's where you make a report. You hand them the phone, you dial the number, you let them tell that person, and when that person stops laughing at them, then you spank your child. Okay, you spank them. All right? Because Texas is a very fiercely independent state that believes in parental discipline. Okay? I will give you an example of just how fiercely they believe. We had a case where an off-duty police officer, so credible witness, saw a father come out of a mall, grab his teenage daughter by her shirt, pull her in, and punch her in the mouth and nose with a closed fist, blooding her nose and her lips and everything else. We took that case to jury trial. And do you know what the Williams County jury said? Not guilty. They believed that that was reasonable punishment, mainly because she took the stand and she was a teenager. Okay, I do not necessarily say that that's appropriate, but if you're going to spank your child, do not spank them with an electrical cord while you have them handcuffed to your dinner table. That is a real case. Okay, so if you want to know what kind of cases we handle a toddler with a spiral fracture of the femur bone. Femur bone, anybody know which bone that is? Leg, very large bone. Do you know the difference between a spiral fracture and a typical fracture? So, yeah, you're correct. You're correct. Think of breaking sticks for your fireplace, right? That's a typical fracture. You break it over your leg, right? A spiral fracture is you twist something with so much force until you cause it to break. Now, the good Lord made children very pliable. So to break a femur bone, you had to exert an enormous amount of pressure. Now, what we would do is we'd take our kids to the doctor and we'd have them do a full body scan whenever there's a physical abuse case. And do you know what we found when they did the full body scan? Not just old fractures, but a healed fracture of the other femur bone from a spiral fracture. Those are the cases that we handle. So when you hear that, now the problem with that is that people then are scared to get involved when they think they see something because they think that a spanking is going to get CPS called. That's not what we deal with. We deal with an infant that was born with 8 rib fractures, and the defense attorney for the parent said it was a traumatic vaginal birth. Let me say that again for those of you who were asleep. A traumatic vaginal birth caused 8 rib fractures. Now, we took that case down to visit with the doctor with all the attorneys, and back then we didn't have Dale Children's. We had St. David's, had the Children's Hospital down 38th in that area. So we all sat around a big conference table, and the defense attorney said this to the doctor, and the doctor said, wait just a minute. And he literally went and grabbed a book. Now, I have to explain to my new prosecutors what a book is, but y'all know. He brought out a book. He laid it on the table. He took the x-rays. He laid the x-rays over a picture in the book, and they almost matched identical. And he said, you want to know what this chapter is entitled in my medical book? Clear Signs of Child Abuse. We also had one way back before all the proliferation, I can't even say big words come from Hutto, of the internet, of a lady that liked to dress very scantily and get followers on the internet. Nothing illegal about that. Maybe immoral, but not illegal. Until you take your 11-year-old, you put her in a thong, you put her in a midriff see-through T-shirt, and you let a sex offender take pictures of her to put on the internet. That's when we get involved. Those are the cases that we handle in CPS. Now, do we have less per capita removals than other counties our size? Absolutely. One is too many, but we are less when you talk about Williamson County, right? You ask, where do we stand in it? We have fewer inmates across the street. McLennan County is Waco area. They're about a third of the size and they have 3 times as many inmates. They also have a time and a half or 2 times the number of removals of children in that county. But do you know how many kids we have in care at any given time in Williamson County through the CPS system? Come on, you've been right so far. You have nailed it like every time. Okay. You want to give it a shot? About 400 kids in care at any time. Too many. Too many. Adoption day is the good day. But so is the day we get to return the kids to their parents. And that's our first goal. Because it's what's best interest of the child. Not best overall. Doesn't mean that they have to have a mansion. It means that they have to meet the basic needs. Now, I'll tell you a story. My mom was a JP for over 35 years in this county, justice of the peace. I went on death calls with her growing up. I drove the car because it was always in the middle of the night. We didn't have victim services. They'd send one call, one person to load the body. So guess who got to help load the body? This guy. My mom bribed me and said, I'll take you for dinner, all-night steak place afterwards. So now, you ever heard of Pavlovian theory? Right? So I see a dead body, I get horribly hungry. My mom was also very frugal, and she didn't like what the first transport charged us for a body bag. So she bought them wholesale and kept them in the back of her van. I thought everybody had that growing up. I thought it was just our turn. Hypothetically speaking, those are made to keep bodily fluids in. But, they also make a pretty good cooler. If you ever put drinks in them, say soda water. So I hear. But anyway, back in the day, I predate cell phones and the internet, and I'd blow my daughter's mind. She's like, oh my gosh. But back then we had CB radios. And my mom, one Christmas time, she radioed, and I remember her call sign. There was KRX 790. And she said, hey, I'm coming home. I need your help. I've got a surprise for you. Well, I wanted a dog. I've been wanting a dog. I thought my mom surprised me with a dog, right? Right? That's what all good moms do. Not my weird family. No. My dad was a police officer. He's called in at the day of the tower shootings. That's my family, okay? We're just a little bit, But anyway, so I go running out. It's not a dog. Do you know what it is? It's a baby. Because back then we did not have foster system that we have today. We didn't have anywhere to place, and that baby had been removed because of abuse and neglect from her family. And that baby stayed with us through Christmas and into the new year until a placement could be found for that child. Now, the sad thing about our system, we try, but we don't always succeed. Fast forward to when I first started with the county attorney's office, and I got assigned to the CPS division. Guess whose children I removed as one of my first cases? That baby who grew up to have kids of her own. Sometimes we're dealing with second, third, fourth generation of kids that have no idea what it means to be a parent because they had no example for themselves. So that's something we do. We also get protective orders. You know what protective orders are? If you come from another state, it may have been called a restraining order. It may have been called order of protection. That's why it's important. I'm all over. I have no idea what they've all been called. But a protective order is not a restraining order in Texas. Restraining order is something you get, come back to court, ask the court to hold somebody in contempt for violating it, right? A protective order is for assault, bodily injury, family violence, sexual assault, stalking. We can get protective orders. Now, what that is yes, it's just a piece of paper is what some people say. But what that piece of paper does is it allows police officers to act before they would otherwise be allowed to. So I can come up to your door and I can knock on your door, even if you have a no solicitation sign if I'm running for office or under free speech. But again, I would want your vote, so I wouldn't knock on it because you'd be like, I have a sign. Why don't you? But anyway, I could do that, right? But if you had a protective order against me, if I got within 200 yards of you, you call the police, they arrest me immediately. They wouldn't be able to do that otherwise, right? And we go and we seek at no cost to the applicant protective orders to protect. Now, that's where I need y'all's help, because with a crowd this size, unless you're a hermit and you stay inside and you never go out, you know someone in your close circle that has been or is currently in a domestic violence relationship. You may not know it, but you do. And when that person seeks your advice, because how many times does somebody leave before they finally break free of a domestic violence situation? What's the average number? 7 times. When they ask you, send them to me. Send them to my office. Send them to my advocates. That's one of the things we can do. The deadliest day in law enforcement history in the state of Texas occurred with an officer responding to what kind of call? Domestic violence. Right outside of San Antonio, out in the middle of nowhere, there was a call. The officer arrested the individual, took him to jail. While he was in jail, the lady packed up her stuff and she took off. He got out, he came home, he was angry. He was angry at law enforcement. He couldn't find her. He grabbed all of his guns. He called in another assault family violence call and went and hid behind a berm on the other side of the road. As that same officer responded, he was shot and killed in his car. The next closest agency would have been DPS when you're out in the middle of nowhere. Because he had not checked in, they could not get a hold of him. DPS drove up. That officer saw what happened. Before he could react, he was shot and killed. A third officer, DPS, shows up, sees it, starts backing up, gets on his radio and says, ambush, 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 and is shot and killed. Officers respond, and the individual is ultimately found to be deceased to lead poisoning. But that was a domestic violence call. People want to convince us it's a family matter. We shouldn't get involved. The state shouldn't get involved. We're not talking about people that argue. It's kind of like spanking with CPS. We're talking about mental control, physical control, abuse. Do people try to abuse the system? Yes. So you're going to probably hear the one story where someone was abusing the system for leverage in a divorce. But that's not what we deal with. So that's what we do. We do adult misdemeanors, assault, bodily injury, family violence, DWI, criminal mischief, terroristic threat. Did you know that thrashing a pecan tree is illegal in Texas? You can thrash your own pecan tree, but don't thrash her pecan tree. Okay, illegal. You can go to jail, 30 days in jail. You want to know another fun one, or do you just want to go on with the serious stuff? Been a little heavy so far. Do you want to know one of the funnest offenses in the state of Texas, in my opinion, that I have not been able to prosecute? I've prosecuted DWIs. I've even prosecuted a flying while intoxicated from Georgetown Airport. Do you know what I have not prosecuted? Too short a hoe. In the state of Texas, you cannot give your workers a too short a hoe, or it's a criminal offense. You didn't know that, did you? You may not remember another thing I said, but I'll bet you within this next week you're going to tell somebody that that's an offense in the state of Texas.
Farmer's daughter from the Rio Grande Valley. I knew that.
You did know that? You are the first one that knew that. You were the first one that knew that. You're my new hero. You are my new hero. All right. We do mental health. We do CPS. We actually advise elected officials. I've got two of my favorite ladies right here. I'm sorry, judges. Non-judges, how's that? But I've got my county clerk and I got my district clerk, and they take good care of me. And we work with both of them. And they are amazing. But when they have a legal question, by statute, I am required, if they ask me, to give them legal advice. Now, our commissioner's court have a whole other set of lawyers. But if they ask, and Larry Gaddis is peeking at me through the window, he's going to talk to you, I think, next, isn't he?
No, we have.
Oh, them too, okay.
Ladies
Oh,
next. Yeah.
come on in. But if he asks, I have to answer. So, hey, don't, judges, he just did his watch. He just did his, he's talking about y'all, not me. All right. How many people do you think is in your county attorney's office? This is important. How many people work in the county attorney's office? Guess? 15. 50. God bless you. I love you that you think that we get all that done with that many people. It's a lot of folks. I have 69 employees, 32 attorneys, so I am the largest law firm in Williamson County, 31 support staff, 6 licensed peace officers, and I need more. We are a safe county, but high volume, and what Judge said, justice delayed is justice denied, okay? And so there are so many new requirements being put on us daily that our judges see us a short period of time in the courtroom, but the amount of work to get that ready to be in the judge's courtroom is exhausting. And more things are being passed to punish us for not doing something. I'm like, I don't need the stick, I need the carrot. Give some state funds and stop giving us unfunded mandates so that we can represent our local folks. And so, yes, that seems like a lot, but we need more. And if you look at counties that are smaller than us, some of them have more. And one of the reasons is we have all, from the judges to the clerk's office to our tax assessor collector who takes all your money. You write his name a lot. I'm just saying, love you, Larry. Mean it. I love him. But we have all done less with try to do more with less, okay? But at some point, with this type of expansive growth, we have to. You see the district courts going for another district court. I know the county courts are talking about that. I know that our clerks do so much. You'll hear from them in a minute. Guys, we are special, I think, because we do more with less, and we care. If I didn't care about this job, if they didn't care about this job, there would be no stress. But I only hire passionate people. It's not that you got a government job because you couldn't get another job. I get the people who are passionate about it, who want to do it, that I have to force to go home, that I have to force to take vacation because you're going to burn out if you don't do it. That's who I recruit. That's who we keep here. And I could say that across the board. But before Miss Connie gets on to me, do you have a question? Did you give me my 5 minutes or did you?
I was trying.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm out of time. I want to be respectful of your time.
You said one of your roles is that you advise elected officials in your county. Is that just the elected officials here, or say like a MUD elected official?
No, only county officials.
Okay, just county. Okay. All right, thank you.
But that's where that's where I can. So, thank y'all very much for your time. Thank you for spending it with us. I appreciate it.